It's been a while since I gave you something a little bit controversial, so I thought this would be a fun topic to discuss. I wanted to point out 5 ways that the product owner accountability can be misunderstood. Now, there was an article written about this, and I was kind of surprised about what they came up with. So I sort of took a little bit of what they said, massaged it, and made it my own, and came up with 5 things that I thought were impactful that we could talk about. Let's start with number 1 on the list. So the product owner is assigned as a team member on a team. Now, while this might sound tricky to explain, the product owner is definitely part of the Scrum team or the greater Scrum team, right? But they're not a team member. And I know that sounds weird. It's just one of these things where you need that little bit of separation. The example that I give is the product owner doesn't own the team backlog. The product owner owns the product backlog. So if you think about it that way, the product owner owning the product backlog makes sense because that's where they're organizing work. That's where they're breaking down work into small pieces. That's where they're making it easily consumable. That's where they're making sure that they're maximizing the value of product resulting from working with or the work of the Scrum team. And that comes directly from the Scrum Guide. It goes on to say, if Scrum teams become too large, they should consider reorganizing it to multiple cohesive Scrum teams, each focused on the same product produced by a single product owner. So there's one product owner where multiple teams can focus on swarming to that product owner's backlog and getting the work done. So what this does is it creates a separation of accountabilities. The Scrum Master becomes the governor of the teams to help them be successful, to help them have the tools they need to be successful, to provide them with a way to protect them from interruptions, to provide them with, or to help ensure that the backlog is built in such a way that it's easily consumable, to work closely with the product owner, stakeholders, and other people. The mindset that you have to have is that as a team member, if you're introvert, you may only want to be affiliated or associated with a single product owner. Where if you're a product owner, you may want to have multiple Scrum Masters at your disposal in case you have to get caught up or you're behind or you're trying to maximize the benefit that you're trying to provide to the organization. So if you think about it in this way, in this conceptual way, this makes it easy for someone to say, okay, a Scrum Master can govern 1 to 3 teams. The teams are focused on delivering the highest value they can, focused on outcome, not output, and that product owners are focused on organizing the work in such a way so it's easily consumable by the team. If you can break it down that way, this one makes a lot more sense because then the product owner is not directly associated or assigned to a team, but multiple teams can swarm to do the product owner's work. I think that makes a lot better sense. All right, let's go to number 2. Number 2, the product owner is responsible for product delivery. Ooh, this one's going to ruffle some feathers. No, the product owner is not accountable for product delivery. The product owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product. If you think about it, that is different. They're going to organize the work in such a way that it's easily consumable, but it's the team's responsibility to make sure that they get the work done and that they're delivering value every sprint. So in the end, the product owner is responsible for value proposition on this. Here, let me put it to you this way. We'll go back to Scrum Guide again. It says in complex environments, what will happen is unknown. Only what has already happened may be used for forward-looking decision-making. If you think about it from that perspective, the product owner's responsibility is to maintain what has happened and to look forward and to build a product backlog in such a way that we're providing value. The product owner is not responsible for delivery, but the product owner is responsible for making sure we're doing proper discovery. Anyone who's ever taken one of my classes, whether it's Scrum Master or product owner, knows the emphasis that I place on ideation and discovery. These are 2 pieces that people don't frequently talk about. They focus all their attention on delivery and they lose out on that very important step of discovery. All right, let's go to number 3. Number 3, the product owner's sole job is to do backlog management, and that's all. Okay. The product owner creates and communicates a product goal. The product owner proposes a sprint goal to take a step forward towards the product goal. The product owner engages with stakeholders, users, internal stakeholders, external stakeholders to inform them about how to maximize value of their product and how to get everything in order. They are, and I know this is going to also be something shocking, the product owner, in my opinion, is the master facilitator. They're not necessarily facilitating meetings, but they're facilitating conversations, focus groups. They're looking at social media sentiment. They're having people help them analyze critical data in order to help them make decisions regarding value, scope, and direction of the product or service that they're building. So while they're not just doing Jira backlog management or ADO backlog management, they are doing something much greater. Let's go to number 4. The product owner is not the product manager. Uh-oh. Did I just say that? Product owner is a Scrum accountability. Any individual can have this accountability. It could be a CEO. It could be a developer if they're building something internal. It could be a customer, a sales rep. Also, it could be a product manager. I'm just going to say that. Scrum lends itself to be intentionally flexible because every single organization that does it is built a little bit different. So if you think about it from this perspective, the product owner makes the product decision and everyone respects the decision. Let's go back to the Scrum Guide. In the Scrum Guide, it says, those wanting to change the product backlog can do so by trying to convince the product owner. That's exactly how it's written. So the product owner is accountable for product value maximization, and the product owner engages with all the different stakeholders. And if you come back and say, but wait a minute, the product manager does more than that. You're right. A product manager is way more than what the Scrum Guide decides for a product owner. But often the things they're doing are not Scrum specifically related. So if you think about it, I don't want you to get so hung up on titles. I want you to think about the accountabilities and make sure you have accountability coverage. The easiest way for me to put this is in my classes, I teach the concept of BAFATA, business analyst, functional analyst, and technical analyst, where a business analyst keeps their thumb on the pulse of the consumers. A functional analyst keeps their thumb on the strategic awareness and priority rank of where we're trying to do things. They help determine, instead of determining its priority, they focus on determining urgency, and that's important. And then you have technical analysts who come in and chime in about technological feasibility. And it's the product manager's responsibility to take all that information, including input from the product owner, and make critical decisions. So it does expand beyond just basic product ownership responsibilities or accountabilities. Okay, let's go with the last one, number 5. The product owner owns the sprint backlog and determines or dictates what the team does. This one's simply not true. The entire Scrum team should determine a sprint goal and define what they wish to achieve in order to get to the sprint goal. Then the developers select items from the backlog that they want to do, and the developers create a plan for completing it during the sprint. The developers own the sprint backlog, which has a sprint goal. Only they can add to, change, or remove items from a sprint backlog. It's because the developers own it and they're doing the work. I think it's pretty straightforward, but you'd be surprised how many times people say, well, if the product owner doesn't dictate, then how do we know the person who's best suited for the job is the one doing it? The answer is we don't, nor do we care. I think it's just equally as important for us to let the team delineate the work in such a way that junior developers have a chance to grow, that senior developers have a chance to mentor junior developers, and that everyone has a chance to work together towards a common sprint goal. That's going to do it for this episode. I hope that it was informative to you. If you have a question about this or any other topic, learn more at AgileDad.com. We'd love to hear from you. As always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.